Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Sam and Cole podcast. We're here on April 13th. It's Monday. Boy, we've had a little time off here, but we thought we'd try to catch up and maybe get back into the swing of things as we lead up to the NFL draft and the Armada season, the Suns season, the NFL off season, and just about everything else. Players is coming up. Sam Kavaris and Cole Pepper with you here for about the next 15, 20 minutes, and we'll try to keep you updated maybe a couple times a week. Certainly up to the players. Cole, you doing all right?
I am. It has been a very busy last couple of weeks for me. As you know, you mentioned the Armada and getting a couple of broadcasts launched there with the inaugural game, and then last week, this past Saturday, the broadcast on the road in Fort Lauderdale. We were in the TV studio here in Jacksonville doing kind of Euro style, right. And then all the barbecue contest, which was this past weekend. Which is always a huge labor of love for me and my in-laws. So, frankly, I'm glad that there's a bye week and a little bit of time to compress here. It's been great. It's been I don't know, you've been traveling a lot, not just up to Augusta, but Belgium doing some cycling. So
I was in northern France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, and it was cold, rainy, and windy the whole time. But that's what they like up there, and cobblestones and steep and slippery, and that's why those people who ride up there on a regular basis are known as the hard men of the north. So fun trip with the guys from Champion Cycling once again. So let's start with the Armada. By the way, nice job on the broadcast there. The interesting thing that maybe people don't recognize, a little inside baseball here, when you do a soccer broadcast, you have to temper what you normally would do with an American bred sport, football or baseball. With soccer, you don't have to fill up all the time. The action can play out for you. And I know you subscribe to that less is more kind of theory.
Yeah, and especially in midfield. And we have, so for the road games, we've got Bob Veal, who works with us, who is a Englishman who played some semi-pro and coached a lot, down at Bartram Trail for years and in the Creek system. So a guy who's been around the game for better part of 3/4 of a century, and so he does the road games with us. And he's somebody dubbed him the British Banazak. All right, so he's kind of got that.
Well, then you know exactly how to handle him.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, I saw Pete in the airport the other day. So.
Oh, is that right? I haven't seen him in months.
He looks good. Good.
Good. We need to get out and play some golf with him soon. But so Bob gives us, he and I do the radio show together as well. So we've got a good rapport, and particularly when the ball's in the midfield. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you call us? And you've done this, so you can tell me if you had the same approach. When the ball's in the midfield, it's more like a baseball broadcast. It's more conversational. And when the ball gets into the attacking third, then now it's almost a basketball broadcast in terms of calling who's got it and what's happening. So it's a different pace, but it's a lot of fun, and you spend a lot of time letting it play out because there are no breaks, and every now and again you got to catch your breath as a broadcaster.
I agree, and once the ball gets inside what the NASL used to have, that 35-yard line, that's when it's a pretty consistent, hey, Pepper, Kavaris, Tally, with the cross, the header, goal,
That's right. Yep.
Wide open like that. So somebody calling you or calling me?
I don't know. I don't see it ringing in here, but
quite tell what's going on.
I don't know.
Anyway, so the Armada win their opener. They score 12 seconds into it, which obviously is exciting, and have 16-6 there, which is a nice crowd. It's their job now to try to sustain that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they won't get 16,000 again because they won't play it ever the rest of the year. So, but have that 8,000 or whatever they're going to have at Community First Park at the baseball grounds. That's the challenge. And so to give you an example, Fort Lauderdale, which is an established franchise, opened against the Cosmos, New York Cosmos, had 11,000 plus, which was the high water mark for them since the league rebooted. And then this past week, they announced a little bit over 4,000 against the Armada. And I don't think there was over probably 2,500 down there. So opening day is one thing, and then you got to sustain it beyond that. And so far, I know that the ticket sales have been doing very well for the next home match, which is May 2nd.
And the Armada are off this week, as you said. They have a bye week. And remember, they play an interesting style that most Jacksonville soccer fans over the years have not been familiar with. The Jacksonville soccer fans have been used to kind of a little bit of a English style, more reserved, pack in the box. They're playing a much more open South American style that really brings a different level of excitement to the game. If they can score goals, then it's great. If you don't, then you've got problems on the back end. But boy, it certainly is an exciting brand that they're trying to play up front.
Yeah, and it was interesting in the opener because Edmonton, coached by a Scot who had played for the Canadian national team, and they're doing everything that they do. That style, which is more direct and play down the wing, cross it, and try to score. Whereas the Armada are playing, as you mentioned, South American, a lot of Argentinian influence, a little bit of Spanish tiki-taka influence as well. And it really was a good matchup for the Armada. Now, Fort Lauderdale plays a South American style. Marcelo Nevelev, who used to coach at Episcopal High School and was the Cyclones assistant coach, he's the head coach down there. So he's Argentinian. So he plays a very, somewhat similar style with a lot of Brazilians now, with Ronaldo as the owner of that franchise. So it should be a good style. And I will say this too. I take whatever bias you want out of this. I think they put on a good show between the team and then also the organization. I think they do a good job of creating a good event when they have home matches.
And full disclosure, Cole is the director of broadcasting for the Jacksonville Armada and can be heard as their voice of on a regular basis.
That's right.
All right, Cole. So the last thing on the Armada, the next match is when?
May 2nd against the defending champion San Antonio Scorpions.
Oh, they changed their name out there to the Scorpions. All right. Very good.
What were they before?
The Sockers.
Okay. Because remember, the Sockers moved to San Diego and then played in the indoor soccer league for a bit. And I think that brand now lives in San Diego, or somebody owns it in San Diego. So they
okay.
Scorpions.
Great. All right. The Jaguars were at the NFL owners meetings, and we learned a lot out there of what they were looking for, what they're talking about, how the organization continues to kind of evolve. Dave Caldwell, I spoke with him for probably 30 minutes one day, and he talked about like signing. What's the guy's name? Bernard Pierce? Was that the running back?
Yes.
Is that the right name? Why sign him? This guy's got to do why. He goes, look, he comes in as an established kind of player. If he, this is the only thing in his background that was kind of on the negative side, and if he shows up and does what we expect him to do, then he has a chance to make the team, and he's the kind of player that we're looking for in terms of guy with some experience who's had some productivity. Look at the free agents that they've signed. Look at what they're looking for in the draft, and I think that it all comes down to what happens in front of them. And I don't think that Randy Gregory will be one of their options based on his admitting to continue marijuana.
I agree with you. I think they were down at the Pro Day in Gainesville on Tuesday to check out what was going on down there, and I think that you're more likely to see the Jaguars go with Dante Fowler Jr. than you would with Randy Gregory. That's probably as much based on ability as anything else. I do think they're going defense, by the way, Sam. I don't think it's an offense move. I think they're going defense if they stay where they are. If they move back, then anything's wide open. But here's the real question I think you have is how much of an impact is this rookie class going to have on this year? Because in the first 2 years, you didn't necessarily need immediate impact in terms of, again, job security or proving direction or anything else. You could develop those guys. You need those guys you drafted the first 2 years to have big impacts this year. Do you need the guys you draft this year to have a big impact in order to get to, we've talked about 5.5 being the number, the safe number, something like that. And if to get over 5.5 wins, do you need rookies from this class, based on what they've done in free agency, to contribute in their rookie years?
Not all of them. But I do think that the contribution out of the first-round pick, if they stay in the top 10. If the Jets want to get up number 3 and take Mariota, would you trade with them for, say, their first-rounder again next year?
Yes. Yeah, you try to swap
you're
first.
only moving down 3 spots, right?
Oh, yeah.
So these are the kinds of things that Caldwell is looking at. I still am having this weird feeling that the 2 quarterbacks are going to go 1-2. I don't know why. And I don't know if it means that Philadelphia goes to 2 or Tennessee is just playing their cards very close to the vest. But at this point, I think the only certainty is if Leonard Williams is there, the Jaguars will take him with the 3rd spot.
Yeah,
outside of that, I think it's wide open.
I agree with you as well. And one of the things that I agree with you on the Leonard Williams thing. I just am not convinced that Marcus Mariota has an NFL arm. That's the thing that jumps out at me, and I watch him and I say, can he make all the throws you need? If he's going to play in a system, I know everybody says how good a kid he is, and he's athletic, but does he have the arm in order to be able to make the throws you need in the National Football League? And I haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's there, but I haven't seen it yet. And so that's the thing that holds me back from thinking he'd go 1. They'll go 1-2. Before I watched him in the national semifinals and national championships, I thought, yeah, they could go 1-2. But after seeing him in those 2 games against high level competition, I'm not in love with his arm.
And that's to be determined by either the Titans or if the Eagles get up there. And like you said, if they run a system that he was familiar with at Oregon in Philadelphia, then the arm strength is not an issue. The only question is that over time, the defensive coordinators figure out how to stop that kind of athlete that's in the National Football League. And I think that's still a question that is yet to be answered.
I agree with you completely on that. And as much as Chip Kelly will tell you that he's got it all figured out and knows how to, confound NFL defenses, I'm not sure he's all the way there. I don't know that it's been tested for a full season with a quarterback who can do everything that he wants. I mean, in other words, if you were to put Ben Roethlisberger in his system 5 years ago, before Ben started to slow down a little bit in terms of his legs, would he have been a star in that system?
No.
See,
I don't think so.
I don't know that he would have lasted. I think he would have been a star as long as he would have lasted, because Roethlisberger he's a terrific quarterback, but I don't think he fits in that system. And he was again, I'm just thinking of guys who have had success and who are also mobile quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers is another one. Right? He's mobile, right, but he's not a running quarterback.
Right, and I think that's part of it. That the Jaguars are looking around, deciding who's going to be taken in front of them. A lot of smoke screens coming up from Tampa Bay these days. The one Glazer's sister raising questions about Jameis Winston, his agent saying, hey, he's not ready off the field to be an NFL player, but then again, who is? All kind. I mean, it's all subterfuge and diversion between now and whatever the date is, the 29th.
17 days from when we tape this, so 28th, I think, right?
30th.
30th. Okay. 30th. Yeah.
30th. All right. So the draft is go. All right. The Jacksonville Suns are off to a nice start, 3-1, even though they lost the opener, and they're playing a bunch of home games here to start the season. Regrettably, their director of sales, January Putt, Monday, has been charged with a felony for taking checks that were intended for the team and putting her own name on it and putting in her account. Now, obviously, all of this is right now just a charge and innocent until proven guilty. But, boy, a very serious charge. And for somebody who is a law school graduate, who is trusted by the Bregan family, who is past the bar in 4 states, who is an important cog in that entire operation over there, along with Chris, as to getting things done. If this proves to be true, it's a tremendous blow to Pedro personally, but also I think to the organization in general.
Yeah, I think it'll be a bigger blow personally to Pedro to have somebody that close to him have done that. Obviously, you talk about an ownership change coming. Pedro's got the deal struck, and Ken Babby will come in, after this season to take over as the owner. I think that one thing that could impact, if I'm Ken Babby and I see that happened, if this turns out to be true, and I see that happened, now I'm looking at everything. I'm bringing in a forensic CPA to see where is the money really, where, what's happening. How, you have to start saying, if it happened once, is it happening other times with other people in other places? And, again, I'm not saying that I think anybody over there would do this, but I didn't. I was surprised to see that January did it. So, or has been charged with it. And again, you got to be careful. Obviously, you don't want to convict somebody before anything happens. But if I have just bought that franchise, I'm thinking, I think some of the people over there, if I was working for the Suns at this point, I'd be thinking, why would you do this and put all of us at jeopardy with a new owner?
Right. But that's a very good point. And if I'm Ken Babby, I get here quickly and I go through the books and interviews with everybody in the organization with a fine-tooth comb. At this point.
Yeah. I mean, background checks and everything else, right?
Exactly. The Royals are doing pretty well.
Yeah, unbeaten as we record this.
Can they go 162-0?
I think they can. I don't think so, Sam. I don't think they have it in them. I think they can only go about 158-4.
That'd be something else. So, love the fact that baseball is back. And as I said, despite their off-field problems, the Suns are maybe the best sports value around these days. And looking forward to spending some time over at the ballpark in what they're calling Pedro's last dance.
And I guess Pedro's actually going to be dancing.
And I certainly hope to have video of that. Absolutely. Well, good, Cole. Cole is filling in on Sundays these days on Channel 4. Most Sundays he'll be here. Except this Sunday he'll be at the Who concert. And I'll be here. But appreciate all your help and you stepping in and getting the job done. You're doing a real nice job for us as well.
Thank you. Always enjoyed doing it, except for when Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend are in town.
All right, very good. All right, that'll do it for the Sam and Cole podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes and also, what else did you say? Where else are we?
Stitcher as well, and you can follow. The easiest way to do it is just wait till we tweet it out. Follow Sam on Twitter at Sam Kavaris. Follow me on Twitter at Cole Pepper, and we'll start to ramp up, get a little more consistency in terms of regular occurrence as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft, for sure, because there's a lot there. Also, we didn't even touch on college football and spring football. All three major area schools have quarterback questions. Florida, Florida State, Georgia, all don't know who their quarterback is going to be on opening day.
And throw Miami into that mix as well.
Miami too. Yeah.
Talking wide open. Exactly.
That's right. All right, that'll do it for the Sam and Cole podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.